In this lesson, we're going to talk about getting your development environment set up. So this is obviously an important one. We need to make sure that we have a good working environment so that we can take this course and do all of the things that we're going to need to do throughout the course. Fortunately, there's not a lot to do here. One of the things that the prerequisites for this course is that you should have some familiarity with Java. So nothing that we're going to talk about here is kind of new to you. So I'm just going to walk through a few things, and we also have some documentation on different tools that you can get set up. So let's start here. Let's start with Java. So you need at least Java 8. And the reason for that is the Java 7 is no longer supported. We talked about that. There's a Java 8 baseline in Spring Boot 2, Spring Framework 5. We're actually going to I'm using Java 9 in the example for this course in the project, but you don't need to use Java 9. You can use Java 8. We're not doing anything special with Java 9. And I know like a lot of people get scared to upgrade to Java 9 because of Jigsaw, the module system. But I don't know if you know this, a lot of people may not, but you don't actually need to move to modules to upgrade to Java 9. Now you might be thinking, well, why would I move to Java 9 if I'm not going to take advantage of the modularity? Well, there are some new APIs and things going into 9 that have nothing to do with the modules. So you could still move to Java 9 and not have to worry about learning the whole Jigsaw module system. So I'm going to use Java 9. You could feel free to use Java 8. If I, for whatever reason, start using something in the API that's 9 specific, I'll try and point that out to you. Next, you need a Java IDE or a text editor. Again, this is, if you're a Java developer, you probably already have a preference. I have a preference. Don't let me talk you out of a preference. But you need an IDE or a text editor. We'll talk about those in a little bit, and we also have a bunch of information in the documentation to Java IDEs. Build tools, I put this on here because I think it's just something that you should be familiar with. You don't actually need Maven or Gradle installed because when we create a new project, so if we use Maven, we get a Maven wrapper. If we use Gradle, we get a Gradle wrapper. So we don't actually need Maven or Gradle installed, but again, it's something you should be a little bit familiar with jumping into this course. If you're not, don't worry. If you use build tools in other languages, then you'll get up to speed pretty quickly. We don't do a whole lot of like advanced stuff in the build tools. So Git, you should have a little bit of an understanding of Git and GitHub. By this point, I think most people do. I'm going to have some information in the documentation, again, on where the repos are. More importantly, some links to some resources. If you're just a little bit familiar with Git, that's fine. And if you want to learn some more, I'll give you some more information on Git. But the only reason I say that is because we're going to use a certain type of workflow in this course where we're going to create a feature branch. And in that feature branch, we're going to start working on some new functionality for the project. And when we're done with it, we'll merge it back into the main repo. So we need to know a little bit about Git, have a GitHub account. If you're not familiar or comfortable on the command line, there is a desktop version of GitHub, so you can grab that if you want. Know a little bit about Amazon Web Services. Again, this is kind of an optional thing. When we get to pushing our project into production, we're going to use AWS. So if you have an AWS account, that'd be great. If you don't care about getting this into production, you don't even need to do that then. You can just kind of follow along with us. But getting familiar with AWS is another one of those skills that would definitely help you out in the long run. It's one of the more popular cloud software in the world. So getting familiar with AWS, having an account, doesn't cost any money. So that's a good thing to get set up. And finally, the development environment setup documentation. In our main documentation for the course, there's an entire section based on getting your development environment set up. I'll have links to everything that we talked to. Again, at this point, while I'm recording this, I don't have a ton of info in there, but as we go throughout this course, I'll try and get as much information in there. And even after, if you guys are watching this and you're looking through the documentation and you think something's missing, let me know. I really want that document to be the one-stop shop for kind of all your answers. So if you have a question like, I don't know if I need Maven, or if I do want to install it, where do I get it? Things like that. I want all of that in the documentation. So let me know what you think about that. Okay, with that, let's take a look at a few things and jump out of the slides here. Okay, so the first thing I always like to tell people about is this tool called SDK Man, and I use it to manage parallel versions of different SDKs. So anything from Java to Groovy, Kotlin, Gradle, Grails, Maven, etc. I use this on my Mac, and you can use this on Windows too. I actually have a Windows 10 machine that I was playing around with today and actually installed it on there on Bash, which was really kind of cool. So this is a tool that I prefer, but again, feel free to use whatever you like. I use this to install Java and a bunch of other tools that I use. If you're on Windows, there's this really cool package manager called Chocolatey, and this will allow you to kind of install Java, IntelliJ, Maven, things like that. Like, you can install everything from there. So if you're on Windows, maybe go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, so let's talk IDEs. So I'm going to be using IntelliJ, the Ultimate Edition, throughout this course, but you, again, do not need to pay for this. The Ultimate Edition has a 30-day free trial, and if you don't like it after that, you don't have to pay for it. If you've already done that and the only thing that you want to use is the free community edition, then that's fine as well. So when we go through and I show you some examples in IntelliJ, there's this thing called the Spring Initializer. And when I go through with the Ultimate Edition, it has it built into the IDE. So you can kind of go through and pick what you want your project to look like. That is really the big difference. That's kind of one of the things that it has support for out of the box. You can easily go to start.spring.io, which we're going to when we start to kind of create our project, and create your project there, download it, and open it right in your IntelliJ Community Edition, and you're good to go. And so there's really nothing specific, but I use the Ultimate Edition for almost everything I do in the Java world. And I love the editor, but you don't have to. There are other things that you can use too. If you want a completely free version, there's this Spring Tool Suite. This comes from Pivotal, and this is an Eclipse-based tool. This is completely free, so go ahead and check that out. Again, the idea with IDEs is to pick the tool that makes you most productive, not me, you. So if you're more productive in STS, that's great. That's what you should be using. Another editor that I've been using a lot lately is Visual Studio Code. I find it to have some really good support for Java applications, and even now Spring Boot applications. So Pivotal has released some extensions for Visual Studio Code, and you can create a new project right within Visual Studio Code. It's got support for a bunch of things in Spring Boot. So I would go ahead and check this out as well. Again, I still use IntelliJ more than I do code, but I just find Visual Studio Code is one of those all-purpose editors that I just love using, whether it's for Java development, my Spring Boot projects, especially if I'm working on like Angular projects. If you have an Angular project that connects to a Spring Boot backend, it's just a really great editor. So I'd suggest go ahead and checking that out. So we talked about Git. We're going to use Git and GitHub to kind of store our project, and we're going to do some things with Git on the command line. If you're not command line savvy, don't worry. You don't need to be. There is a tool called GitHub Desktop, so you can go ahead and download that and check that out if you want. But if you've never used Git either, this is a really good place to start. You can actually try it free right here in the browser, so learn Git in your browser, and there's some really good documentation. So if you want to kind of get caught up on Git before we get started, that's perfectly fine too. But again, it's not a total requirement. I just kind of want to show you my workflow. So that's Git and GitHub Desktop, and then my URL, my repositories are going to be stored here at github.com/cfaddict. Old username, I haven't changed it yet just because I have so many places kind of pointing there. So I need to update those before I kind of change that over. So that is my GitHub account. You'll find a lot of the source code that we work on here in this account. So that's where that'll be. So I think that's it. Like I said, I didn't want to sit here and run through every single little piece of installation that we needed to do. This really is all we need. You notice we didn't talk about like Maven or Gradle or anything like that. And that's because we don't need Maven or Gradle installed, because we're actually going to be using what's called like a Maven wrapper or the Gradle wrapper. So it's actually wrapped inside of our project, which is really cool. So again, just really simple. All we need is Java, something to write our code in, and Git just for the example purposes of going along with me in the course. So that's our development environment. If you do have any questions about that, please let me know. Again, in the lesson following this one, we're going to have a complete document that hopefully runs down everything you need to know. But if you feel like you're ready, you can kind of skip over that and let's jump in and start writing some code.